I chose the empty box. What's up, members of the Peter Griffin household? It's your host with the most, Troublesome Junction, back at again with another review video. All engines go! Something that I have very publicly stated my disdain and dislike for. But guys, I got one thing to admit. One thing that might turn my entire audience against me. I think the merchandise is pretty damn good.
What the fuck? Motherfuckers really ain't got no loyalty.
Now don't get it twisted, I am not an All Engines Go fan by any means. I think that as a TV show, it really shouldn't exist. I said it once and I'll say it a million times, if it was a spin-off show that ran alongside the main series, I would not have a problem with it whatsoever. But I feel that this is the embodiment of everything Thomas and Friends went against in the first place. But I also like to be honest and fair and give credit where credit's due. I will 100% say that the merchandise that Mattel has been putting out for All Engines Go is really top notch. I don't know if it's a fact that because they have more cartoony designs, they're easier to translate, or however, things are being handled. I will tip my hat to the fact that they got some damn good merchandise, which leads me to this set right here. Now, this is the Thomas and Friends Motorized All Engines Go Paint Delivery Set. Now, this set, it is a very strange kind of, situation of how I found out about this set. I was watching one of Leo Kim Video's recent videos where he was showcasing Thomas and Friends stocks in his local store. It's kind of a tradition for Leo Kim Video at this point. But I saw this playset in a portion of the video and he showcased, I was like, oh, paint splattered little playset. I mean, that's pretty cool, I guess, because I'm a very big fan of the paint splattered Thomas. It's one of my favorite iterations of Thomas. But there was something in this set that he pointed out that really caught my eye, and I will get to that later, but I just kind of had to buy this. And not to mention, as of the time of recording this, Amazon is having their Black Friday deal. I was able to pick this set up for like $16, and I think that, for at face value, $16 for this, like, dog, that's the price of like the normal 3-engine pack typically. So, I think for value for money, you can't really go wrong with the train set here, and I think it might make for a fun video. Now, I want to preface this isn't going to be just a big I hate All Engines Go video. I want to give this set a fair chance and a fair review. However, I will be making comparisons to past products and making parallels and references to many of Thomas's ups and downs. So, without further ado, let's get into this set. But you guys know what we do when we review Trackmaster sets, damn it. We get the hard hat out. We're building this shit. Choo-wee boy. We got ourselves a train set to build. So here we are at the iconic tiny table where we're just going to take a look at the box. So looking at the front of the box here, of course, it shows you what you get in the set down here. It has a really nice visual of the playset itself. I won't deny it. It is a very eye-catching box, but then again, All Engines Go is a very flashy, colorful show, so I mean, it's kind of, bound to happen on that front here. And then, of course, at the top of the box here, we have Thomas and the Troublesome truck that come in the set. This Thomas looked like he just saw his entire family get shot, and that Troublesome truck looks like he's never missed a Diddy party. That is one thing I've noticed about the All Engines Go merchandise, is that it feels like every set has some kind of different face for all of the characters, and I will be getting into that once we open this set up. And then on the side of the box, we have this little fucker smiling at you. Well, I don't know what the fuck you're smiling for, little nigga. We know what you did to the franchise. Now, the back of the box is much more traditional Trackmaster. This is really nothing new. We've been getting boxes like this for the past, 10 years or so. It gives you a nice overview of the playset with a simple background, shows you what you get in the playset, and then all of the different play features and functions that it has. It's simple stuff, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then on this side of the box, we have more of these little shits. Stop staring at me. But all in all, I think this is a very solid box. It does its job, very eye-catching, very appealing, but boxes can't really do too much of the talking. Let's open up this set and see truly what we get here. Probably should have opened it from the other end since it has a bigger opening to dump things out with, but hey, it's not a Troublesome Junction video if it ain't needlessly complicated and long. All right, here comes the gubbins. Oh, look at that. Whoa. Oh, is that a sticker sheet? Yeah, that's a sticker sheet. And it looks like Thomas and the Troublesome truck are just kind of tied in there, so we're going to get these guys out as gently as humanly possible. I did it. All right, we got Thomas out. Just fucking horrified. It's like, oh God, help me. I think what I'm going to do now is move all of the track components and trash out of the way. And we're going to talk about the engines and the wagons themselves. So we'll come back when we get all that situated. So moving the camera up closer here, we can get a better look at Thomas and the Troublesome truck. So without further ado, we're going to take a look at Thomas here. So the side detailing is very interesting, to say the least. You know, it has a very, the paint splatters look very pronounced. You can actually feel them. Like, I've mentioned this before in previous videos, but Mattel's way of detailing and decorating their engines now is they just, you know, print it on or stamp it on. And you could definitely feel where the printer ink has, you know, been put on this. It has a bit of a texture to it. So, you know, if that's your kind of thing, you know, I feel that's really nice. And furthermore, if I scratch it with my fingernail, it doesn't feel like it's going to rub off as easily as it did for, like, the Take and Play that utilized this type of printing. Really bad habit with those where the lining detail would easily scrape away. So, you know, maybe they've refined it over the years. It's been a minute since I bought Thomas merchandise because obviously I'm not an All Engines Go fan, so there really isn't much reason for me to. But there's a fucking squirrel on the side. We will get into that a little bit later because there's like several other depictions of squirrels in this set. So I assume that the ones who are causing all of the paint splatters and all the mess is fucking squirrels, you know? Although this one right here, this printing detail is a little odd because it's a 3D paint can right there, and it's like splatted on the side, meaning that like Thomas's running board would theoretically be super wide to accommodate this paint can. I don't know, it's a little weird detail, or it's just a really flat paint can. I'm also looking at this and I'm noticing a blemish down here. If you can kind of see that on camera, it's right here, there's a little, it looks like a little bite was taken out of it or something. And then right here around the wheel arch, you can see there's like a little nugget taken out there. Yeah, it's a little odd there, but, you know, maybe that's just a part of the assembly process where, you know, they cut it off of the sprue that they injection mold these on. Or it could just be, you know, quality control issue or something along those lines. It is, you know, openly exposed in the packaging, which I definitely can see that being a problem because being in a position where children can easily touch or bump it and all that kind of stuff, it makes these toys much more prone to being damaged. The detailing on it though, like, yeah, it looks like All Engines Go Thomas. What more can you really say? Has that very stylized, you know, cartoony, slanted, and one side is small, one side is big, and angled kind of look. You can see it right there. The roof is slanted down, the chimney or the funnel is slanted backwards. And the one thing I always found with the fucking whistles, dude, why are they just like these fucking smokestacks, dog? I don't know, the whistle just looks so strange on this guy. I just don't understand, like, the design philosophy for All Engines Go. It's a little weird. Also on this side, I do want to point out the squirrel. Squirrel looks like he's been fucking shot. He's also screaming, "Help!" Oh! But I think you get the gist of this Thomas here, so I think we should get on to the comparisons. So we have the new guy, and we have the old guy. Makes you really wonder. I mean, hey, it is, you know, it is the guy who's doing the thing. I guess both of them are doing what they're intended to do. They're representing their respective IPs. This Thomas is not perfect, but oh my goodness, he might as well be close to it, because the face sculpt on this guy is unbelievably accurate to the depiction of paint splattered Thomas and calling all engines. This is one of my favorite Thomas items I have. I've very openly stated that I'm not the biggest, you know, Tomy Trackmaster fan, but they have a lot of nuggets and little things here and there, or playsets that I absolutely can't get enough of. But you can see here, albeit the All Engines Go Thomas is shorter in length, he's also a lot taller. But in terms of like width, if you see it right there, you see it about there, they're about the same with the Cross, so that's kind of surprising. But I guess it makes sense though, because, you know, they're still operating on the same gauge for track. There are of course smaller details, like there isn't buffer detail down here, no lamp molding detail, because I do believe All Engines Go Thomas does have still have a lamp on the front. This one does have a little molded lamp detail and lamp irons and whatnot. On the back we have no detail at all, but I also don't think All Engines Go Thomas does. I think he might have a back lamp as well. Again, I don't really watch the show all that much. I've seen what I needed to see to make my opinion that it's definitely a fucking baby show. I've definitely pissed off the like 2 adults that actively watch All Engines Go. Again, though, they're trying to replicate 2 completely different beasts. This is trying to replicate the Thomas that we all know and love, and this is trying to replicate the bouncy McBoing Boing Thomas, and I think it does a good job at that. But I think that's enough of this comparison. Let's get to a more modern comparison. So this is, of course, the flip face crash and repair Thomas. This is one of my favorite Trackmaster 2 items to ever come out. I absolutely love this line, and again, referencing an old review that I did years and years and years ago, like we're talking 2015, I actually did a review on Diesel along with Shipwreck Rails. You guys want to know the state of that Diesel from that video? Yeah, that nigga's dead as hell. Yeah, I was like 13 at the time, and I tried to do like some custom modification shit. Yeah. Which is very ironic because this Diesel 10 went to be very sought after. And, I think it's really come down in price. You can find this guy on eBay for like $30, but this guy was going for like $50 to $200 at some point. Oh man, like I was punching the air for a while when it came to that. But hey, I do have the Thomas still, and, you know, he still does the thing. I guess they're both screaming now. But looking at the undercarriage, they do have the same mechanism, the same wheel length and everything. There's really nothing much that has changed. I do notice that the area where you do screw on, you know, to open up and put the batteries in, it's a little shorter on the All Engines Go, but I guess, you know, this does have a completely different body shell, so changing that really not a big deal. But it looks like the mechanism and the design of everything is the same outside of this middle wheel here, which is now a separately molded in 3D piece, whereas on older, you know, Trackmaster 2 stuff, it was just printed on and molded this little divot here. So it is really nice to see that little bit of extra detail put in. Really reminds me again of the older Trackmaster and Tomy ones that did have 3D molded wheels that were much more pronounced. One thing I do find odd about the All Engines Go, you know, Trackmaster Thomases is that they have a hole for, you know, coupling rods, it still seems like, but they don't have them in the show. So it kind of makes you wonder why they even included this. And you could say, well, oh, they're just reusing the molding of this guy right here, which obviously has the hole. But as you can see with these 2 wheel sets right here, they are completely, you know, different wheels. Like, this is a newly molded part. So I really don't understand what was the point of including that hole in the first place. Even this wheel up at the front here, you see there's no holes down here at all. So a little odd choice there. I really can't give a definitive answer of why this has a hole. Maybe they wanted to mold a universal one because maybe a character comes along that does have coupling rods. But then again, I doubt it. But one thing I do want to talk about, and this applies to a lot of the All Engines Go merchandise as a whole, it is the faces. It feels like every piece of All Engines Go merchandise has a different facial expression among the characters. And I know that that's something that fans have been clamoring for, especially, you know, I think of Leo Kim Video's reviews talking about the fact that every Thomas we got had this generic happy face unless it was some kind of specialty thing, where you got the occasional differently molded faces. But it really wasn't something that came along until later in Trackmaster 2's life, But one thing about All Engines Go is it feels like right out the bat, they're going in swinging with all of the different facial expressions. So it is pretty interesting how they were able to catch that vibe and feel of the show to the merchandise. But the reason why they're able to do it, if I bring over again the paint splatter, Thomas, it's because the face in all of the detail, the mouth, the eyes, and all of the little paint splatters and whatnot, this is all printed. The only 3D component to this face is the nose down here. Meaning that if they want to make new facial expressions, all they have to do is take a blank face template, which all it has is, again, the 3D nose. They'd have to hire some, 2D, graphic designer, design a face, print it on it, and send it on out there. But whereas if you have something like this, where it is a very specially molded face with 3D components, mouth, and all of that, the things you would have to take into consideration would be not only to design the face, of course, but you'd also have to find a way to automate that. Meaning that you're not only going to have someone design a new face entirely 3D, whereas this is just a 2D drawing and render, you're going to have someone design a 3D face. You're going to have for the automation process, someone design, buy, and, get an injection mold that can make these specialty faces that are different compared to the traditional happy faces. And of course, these are probably going to be produced in smaller quantities than something like the traditional happy face. Meaning, all in all, it is much more expensive to make these faces. But, All Engines Go has the benefit of being a 2D show, meaning having a 2D printed on face doesn't break the theming and the look of the engine and show, but it also is a cheaper method to give those fans what they wanted of uniquely molded faces much more commonly, but also saving on that cost. Pretty clever of how they're able to pull that off. But it is kind of unfortunate, though, that, we're getting all of this high-end merchandise here, but the show following suit really is not what most fans want out of it. And one of the things I do want to talk about here, going on a bit of a tangent here, this era of Thomas that we're in right now as of 2024 really reminds me where we were just about 10 years ago. We were in the Sharon Miller era of the show, where the episodes, complete dog water. You had a couple of gems here and there, but all in all, the writing of the show was bad, the vibe of the show was bad, and it was very clear that it wasn't where the show needed to be. But the merchandise that was coming out at that time was phenomenal. We got the, nicely detailed take and play engines that had really solid CGI faces, but they still had the accurate take-along like bodies before they got the squish designs and everything. Even with the Trackmaster stuff, we were getting cool play sets, awesome exclusive packs, and all of this merchandise just was so high quality, but the show was bad. But then, of course, when we get to the what I call the golden age of Thomas, which is like 2015 to maybe, 2020, 2021, that was an era where we were getting pretty bad merchandise, because that was when Trackmaster 2 was introduced. The craze of Thomas Wood was around that time. The squash take and play designs. We were getting objectively worse merchandise, but really good episodes of the show. And I think that, it's finding that balance here of good show, good toys that Thomas and Friends just really hasn't been hitting. And I feel that right now we're in that Sharon Miller era. If you love or hate All Engines Go, you have to admit this merchandise is a very big step up compared to what we were getting not too long ago. But I think I've rambled long enough about this fucking train. Let's get to the Troublesome truck. So here we have the Troublesome truck. It comes with these two paint loads here. They're actually surprisingly, dense and heavy. And the Troublesome truck itself, again, it has a very expressive face. One thing about All Engines Go, the design-wise, that I really like the Troublesome trucks. But then again, how can you fuck up a Troublesome truck? It's literally a box on wheels. But I'm really liking these recent Troublesome trucks that are giving us 3D faces. And it's a shame that the CGI faces that came out came towards the tail end of Trackmaster 2, so there weren't as many opportunities to get those nicer end trucks. Because before, the ones that were coming out with the sticker faces and all the weird bits were just enough to make you fucking cry. But hey, at least, they're keeping up the theme of having 3D faces with the rolling stock. And also, we have the added benefit of getting much more expression, faces and whatnot. Like, this is a really nice Troublesome truck. He's got that mischievous, diabolical, devious look. And I think in some cases, if you wanted to put this, in a rake with other CGI Troublesome trucks, I don't think you could really go too wrong with that. The detailing on the side is also very nice, very pronounced. It's not painted, but then again, I wouldn't really expect it to be. You can go through with a Sharpie if you want to and do that. And comparing it to the original Trackmaster 2 Troublesome truck here, you can definitely see the similarities, but this definitely feels like it's much more pronounced and easier to see all of that detail compared to this one back here. Even stuff like the interior of the Troublesome truck, albeit this one doesn't have the other side, but that plays into the play feature. Like the detail down here, it's got the wood planks and everything. I know that the CGI Troublesome trucks that came later on, they also had wood detailing inside, unlike these cars, but unfortunately, those are much harder to get your hand on. I really wanted to buy a lot of CGI Troublesome trucks for this video, but that would have cost me like triple what I paid for this playset, so I didn't really see that as worth it. But other than that, they are very similar in size, similar in appearance, but I definitely think that this Troublesome truck, it pops, it stands out, and I'm really digging it. One thing that is different, and it does tie into a play feature, you can kind of see there, it's got this little tab down here at the bottom which flicks back and forth. It does tie into a play feature that dumps this little, thing here, which we'll get more into that later, of course, but, it is really nice all in all. Really like this piece, would love it if Mattel would give us a Troublesome truck pack like they used to with Trackmaster. Honestly, I love that we're getting the train packs that come with diverse rolling stock, which is something, again, that happened towards the end of traditional CGI Trackmaster 2. Then it morphed into the All Engines Go, and they're carrying that on. I would love to see Troublesome truck, packs come out that have, like, maybe 4 of these Troublesome trucks with different loads, and maybe have some, like, one of them's a box van, a tanker, and whatnot. And I just would love to see something like that come back, and I really think that they'd sell well among not only All Engines Go fans and kids, but also with adults, because rolling stock, you can have as much of that as humanly possible, and it will still never be enough. But all in all, I think for what this is, it's a very nice addition. Love to see it, because they could have very much so included just a generic, wagon like this. But they went the extra mile and gave us one with a face. And again, I think character-wise, it ties into the play feature, which we will get to later. Speaking of which, I think it's about time that, I've rambled long enough about these toys. Let's get to the actual damn playset now. So I got the playset all built up, all stickered, and, ready to go. But as you can see here, it's a little bit too big for the table, just so slightly. I think I'm going to move everything to the floor so we can, of course, get a good view of everything. I'll, of course, also move the camera around so you can see the smaller details and whatnot. So let's get this playset on the ground. Luckily, it's Trackmaster 2, so, you can hold it and move it and don't have to worry about things falling apart and what. I say that and then the fucking sign falls off, damn it. So yeah, if you're a parent and you got your child and they got all their Thomas stuff set up on the floor, your parents sees like, hey, get your fucking trains out of the floor, you little shit. They can just take it and throw it away and it's moved. Controversial opinion, but I still think Trackmaster 2 has the best track system. Don't at me on that. So here's the playset all put together, as you can see. We got it down on the floor so I can give better, showcases when it's actually running around and whatnot. It is just a simple oval of track with a nice little bit of elevation there in the background, as you can see. Very strange thing to point out. I mean, as you saw in the last, little segment, the sign does not really clip in all that well. You can see it just kind of pops up there, but everything else, like the Station Master, like the station, I guess, Station Master's house, whatever you want to call it, that clicks into place. Even the little derrick right here, it's a little odd that they didn't make the sign do that. But speaking of this sign, I think this sign is just super weird. Like, okay, I'm thinking about this, like, in universe, right? Because obviously this is just here to just advertise Thomas and Friends and, Tim the Sheds are all paint splattered. But, like, in universe, right? Like this set is meant to be Thomas on the island of Sodor. So this is a billboard on Sodor just saying, come enjoy our fucking railway where our trains are dirty, causing accidents, and probably having many health code violations. Wouldn't it have made more sense if this had said like Sodor Paint Factory? But back to the main draw of the set. So you get this really cartoony looking Derek right here. It is odd, you know, like, hey, it looks relatively normal here, but this big beam follows the same art style of All Engines Go, where it's like small on one end but really big on the other to give you that cartoony, you know, offset kind of look. I don't really like it all that much, but it fits in with the art style, so you can't really criticize it for doing what it's supposed to do. So the main play feature here is you take this derrick at the station, you hook one of the barrels of paint, you pull it like this, rotate it, and then, you know, you would have Thomas come along here, you know, because they have, actually, I'll do it right now. Flick this up. This is little stopper here. That these things have been around since the days of Tomy. So you got Thomas there. He's stopped. You got the derrick loading the paint bucket right there. Turn it away. And then you flip the lever, and Thomas goes. He goes across this broken bit of track. And then the Troublesome truck, well, it didn't fucking do it. What the hell? All right, so do it again. And it also didn't do it that time either. It's supposed to dump out over there. Oh, it did it that time. Huh, that's odd. See, maybe will it flick up this time? Oh, I saw it do it a little bit there. So, of course, I will show more, you know, of the set running and whatnot, but I did allude to this earlier of why I bought this set. And you want to know the reason I have turned to the dark side and bought an All Engines Go set? Was that piece of track right there. I know, as strange as that sounds, this piece of track right here is why I bought this set. And I will give you a very good explanation of why. I love realistic danger elements in Thomas sets. As a kid especially, one of the most common things that I, and I'm sure many other people did, was simulated accidents on the island of Sodor. And my favorite was whenever rails were uneven and Thomas would bump along and come off the track, something like that. That was always my favorite type of Jeopardy, where you can, you know, it wasn't like, oh, Thomas hurtling through the air, launching off of a bridge, or coming through a fucking Indiana Jones ass temple at high speeds. Like this, it feels like a realistic take on a realistic element on the railroad. The track is broken. It's out of, you know, repair. So going over it, you know, Thomas is going to bump around and whatnot. Oh, because as a kid, what I'd probably do is put like a piece of Play-Doh right here or something, and then have it so that when it hits the Play-Doh, it jumps the track and it comes off right there. Like that's the kind of way I would play with Thomas as a kid. And that piece of track right there just really took me back to those days. And I was like, wow, it's sad that an All Engines Go set handled realistic Thomas Jeopardy better than actual Trackmaster 2 did. Because, you know, in the days of Trackmaster 2, we did get something like this in the form of the Breakaway Bridge set, which I think, yeah, that's a fine set, especially in the early days of Trackmaster. But then it felt like every set that they were trying to make had to have this huge one-trick pony action sequence of putting Thomas in jeopardy, when you didn't need that. You just needed something simple like this, like, oh, he's shaking on the rails, you know, something simple like that. But, you know, I think that when it came to the gimmicks that Trackmaster 2 really tried to push later in its life, I think that is the reason why not as many people were as invested into it. People like simplicity in Thomas and Friends. I think that's what made Thomas stand out in the first place. It's a train doing train things. And everything about this playset screams a train doing train things with Thomas elements thrown in. You know, it's a train delivering a load, going around the loop, but then the Thomas element, the Troublesome truck, is acting up, and he throws your load off the bridge. You know, I love stuff like that, and I think that this set, hey, again, I don't like All Engines Go, but I will call a spade a spade. This is a true Thomas set. You know, I'm having a lot of fun with this playset, so why don't we spice it up a little bit here by putting on another Troublesome truck there. All right, we're gonna take Thomas here, flip this up, get him going. He's stopped. Move the camera over here, move it up some. All right, it's good. I wish there was kind of like little markers to put the paint can, so it's much easier to just rotate it, line it up. But I mean, hey, I guess maybe I'm getting too greedy with what I'm asking for here. All right, take this, pull it up right there, load up one truck. I'm just gonna kind of cheat here. All right, loading up. If it will reach, it definitely doesn't, so we're gonna cheat again. 2 trucks, there we go. Lock this back. Screw it, we'll have it dangling over the track for kicks and giggles. And send him on his way, woo! Fuck. All right, Thomas, we're gonna try that again. Let's go, woo! Oh, there he goes, and it's gonna throw him off. Come back around, cross this little bit of a bumpy track. You know, I mentioned earlier that I thought the Troublesome truck had a wobble to it. I don't think it has the offset wheels like how the other Troublesome trucks do. So quickly give them another load here, come back around, let's see it again. And harping back to this track element right here, you know what it really reminded me of? It reminded me of my favorite Thomas & Friends playset of all time, the Shake Shake Bridge. And not only do I have one of the Shake Shake Bridges, I love this set so much that, damn it, I own 2 of them. Put them back to back. I know it's insanely ironic coming from the guy that has openly expressed that I don't care for Trackmaster or Tomy all that much, but one thing I will always stand by is the Shake Shake Bridge. And this little bit of Jeopardy, because, you know, the Shake Shake Bridge, you'd have a character go along, and bits of the track would move like this. You know, some of the bits would go like this, some of them would wiggle side to side, some of them would move one way. It was just that little bit of Jeopardy that, oh, the engine coming along the track. I'd have a Trackmaster Thomas here, you know, him going along, he'd wobble and shake over the Shake Shake Bridge. And as I mentioned before in other videos, rickety bridges especially were some of my favorite elements in not only Thomas & Friends, but toys in general. I love rickety bridges and stuff. And that is something that is quite realistic. Having engines going across really unsafe, rickety bridges in undesired locations. You know, in this case, it was Misty Island, an abandoned railway. Having, you know, these little pieces as the engine would go, looks like bits of the bridge are falling off. I love stuff like this. So this simple molded track element was able to capture the love and joy and whimsy that I felt with this iconic playset right here. I think that right there shows Mattel is really onto something here. I just think, it is super unfortunate that it's coming this late in the cycle. We're to the point where Thomas & Friends is in this weird limbo of failing financially and not being where it needs to be, but the merchandise is like the lifeboats saving people on the Titanic as we're sinking. You know, the damage is already done. Lots of people are jumping ship quite literally of Thomas & Friends. Old fans and new fans, it's just not as easy to get into. So as a whole, this playset just really leaves a bittersweet taste in my mouth. I think it is an awesome playset, but I think it's, you know, a couple years too late. Anywho, enough rambling. Let's get back to the damn set. But giving you guys a little closer view of how that action feature works, you can see those little tabs down there. There's 2 of them going in both directions, so you can use the Troublesome truck going in both directions there. But as the Troublesome truck rolls over this track, I actually grab it right here, bringing it over, and as it rolls over those little tabs, this little black little divot down here, it swings back and forth, and then it of course causes the dumping feature. But I do find it a little bit odd with the dumping feature in the fact that it just kind of throws it there. Like, there's no deposit for it, or even like something as simple as having like maybe a little set of rails where if it dumps it, it can roll back down to the station so it's easier to reset or something. But I also think the element of it's a troublesome truck doing that work, where it throws it off because troublesome trucks are meant to be, you know, little assholes that cause trouble. So it throwing the paint off the edge, it makes sense in universe of what, you know, the troublesome truck doing what it's doing. But it kind of is a little bit odd that it just throws it there, you know? So I think you could make valid arguments both ways, but I do think that is a really neat play feature, and I love the fact that it still doesn't compromise the look of the troublesome truck. Although, yeah, it doesn't have the entire side of the troublesome truck, but I mean, it's better than what was happening before with all those little tumors that the troublesome trucks were getting. I think one of the things I would kind of complain about is that it does have an abundance of green track, which doesn't really blend well with a lot of other tracks. I would have kind of preferred it if the set came in this. If you need to have it be a colorful color besides the traditional dark gray, I would have preferred this, you know, slate blue color that they use back here. It really reminds me of the old Blue Mountain Mystery sets that came out about a decade or so ago. Like, I would have much preferred a more muted color than this vibrant-y kind of color. But again, it's all engines go, so it makes sense of what it's trying to do. But it is kind of unfortunate that this track, it's still compatible with, you know, Trackmaster 2 and whatnot, but it is going to stand out like a sore thumb. Speaking of compatibility, I think it would be kind of fun to take this Thomas and have him run across the Shake Shake Bridge and just do a little cross-compatibility back and forth here. All right, so we do have Thomas put down here at the end of the playset, so let's see him go, go, go. Well, he's not fucking going. Maybe he needs a little bit of a helping hand. We'll put him back. Oh, there he goes. Look at that. Woo! Oh, you thought you were done, Thomas? Nah, little bro. You're going to that return journey right there. Oh. He's getting caught up, and there he goes. We love it when the new toys can talk with the old toys. Oh, there he goes again. I think this kind of compatibility is absolutely essential, even though, you know, again, it's pretty obvious that the Trackmaster stuff, obviously just being track would be compatible, but man, it is really nice to see that they can talk to each other still. So if you want to spice up your playset, maybe you can go ahead and add you a little Shake Shake Bridge on your little paint factory set. So we're able to see the compatibility with this guy over the Shake Shake Bridge. I think, you know, let's spice it up a little bit more and see another beloved Thomas and Friends toy. Let's see how the Crash and Repair Thomas fits in with this set. You know, I mean, the set does have elements of Jeopardy, little bits of oddness. Let's throw him on, give him a quick run. All right, we got him stopped at the station here. We're going to flick the lever down here, and I'm going across the little bit of Jeopardy track. Dumps it off. There's really nothing that trigger it, but woo! Look at this set. Now, this is a set that I would have craved for if it had came out, you know, just a couple of years ago when we were getting traditional Trackmaster Thomas. You know, even regardless of the All Engines Go theming, outside of, like, you know, I'd say like the station and the structures, but just the track layout itself, I really think that, yeah, this does work really well with other Trackmaster items, not only in terms of functionality, but aesthetic and look. Like, yeah, I can honestly get behind this. If you were to tell me, you know, remove all the All Engines Go elements and just slap on a normal Thomas in this set, yeah, you'd sell me on that. I'd bite. And of course, to show off that the set works in both ways, we're going to send him around this way. Send Thomas back here. Is going to dump it the other way this time. He comes back around, and oh, Thomas, look out for the bumpers. Woo! Looks like our boy is having a bit of a conundrum. I'm a bit of a sucker for punishment, so let's see that again. Moving the paint load over here, because I am not reaching over there to get the other one. Send Thomas on his way. Oh, looks like I forgot to put it back. I think we all knew that the flip-face Thomas would have worked on this because it is made for Trackmaster 2, but I'm honestly kind of curious to see how the original Trackmaster paint-splattered Thomas holds up on this. So we're going to couple them up here. All right, so this time around, I do have the original paint-splattered Thomas loaded up on this track. I want to see how he holds up on this, so let's give him a quick run here. All right, going over the bit of Jeopardy track, he's struggling. Oh, I don't think he can get up that hill. Ooh, yeah, I don't think that this is entirely compatible. Oh, give him a little bit of a helping hand. Oh, come on, Thomas. You can do that. Oh, there he goes. Comes back around, and he is stuck again. How sad. Hey, man, we'll give him a second chance now. We made it over the bit of Jeopardy track, and nothing. Let me put you out of your misery, old-timer. You had a good run, but looks like the big boys have officially taken over. So I guess I'm not entirely surprised that original Trackmaster isn't as compatible with this All Engines Go style stuff. You know, it is unfortunate, but then again, this Thomas is creeping up 10 years since it's been discontinued, so having Mattel have to look back all the way in their catalog to accommodate for these old toys that most younger children probably don't even have, it makes total sense. But it is really unfortunate that we're not going to be able to see the original paint splattered Thomas running on the Paint Splatter Factory set. Well, I guess we now know why Thomas looks so sad. So if I were to give a final rating on this set here, I think I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I think for what this playset is, oh, Tom's getting smacked with the bucket back there. I think for what this set set out to do, it is an absolutely phenomenal Thomas set and an even better train set. I think it has everything a Thomas set should have. It has the elements of the little bit of Jeopardy, the little bit of goofiness that comes along with Thomas, but in the end of the day, it still feels like a train set. I think that if you want a nice little set to maybe get your kid interested in Thomas and Friends Trackmaster stuff, or hey, maybe if you're an old-time fan and you just want a little bit of stimulation or something, I think this set is honestly, you can't really go too wrong with this. The merch that they've been putting out has really been a step in the right direction. It's been better quality, and there's been a lot more train sets that feel like train sets. Yeah, you get your occasional crazy, floaty, you know, action Hot Wheel set type of set, but I've been noticing a lot more traditional Guinness type of sets. All in all, I think this is a great set and you can't go wrong with it. So that's all I gotta say for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave your comments down below. What are you thinking of the new All Engines Go merchandise? Are you gonna pick it up, or are you just gonna pass on it? So that's all I gotta say for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Now, isn't that a crazy sight to end on?
Spimpin' ass! Spimpin' ass! Yes! Spimpin' yes! Spimpin' yes!